Hey everyone.
Hi everybody, Joe and Abby.
Yeah, Abby's talking about higher self, and we can talk a little bit about that at the beginning, and then we'll just go from there.
Yeah, we were trying to decide what our video topic was going to be, and one of the things that often comes up in my arena, people want to know more about their higher self. They want to know, how do I work with my higher self? How do I become one with my higher self? How, why is this going on in my life? Why doesn't my higher self love me? There's all these different spectrums of, I need help from my higher self. I need to feel like I'm truly aligning with my higher self so all my problems can go away. And if I could just know what my higher self is trying to tell me, that would just solve all my problems and everything in my life would just be great. So I thought, you know what, why not start on a higher self kind of conversation? And it'd be fun for Joe and I just to chat about it, give you guys some feedback from our own perspectives.
We got weird stuff happening here.
You guys have no idea what we're seeing. In real life, though.
It's 60 degrees finally in Yukon. And you have these bugs that are just coming out like flies, but their legs don't work.
You can kind of see on the top of this, where's my finger at?
You're not going to be able to see that.
They can see it, maybe.
Anyway,
there's little bugs
we're
there.
getting off topic, but one of the things that they're doing is they're landing, but the legs don't work, so they just tumble down the front of the...
Yeah, so we see these little tumbleweed bugs going down the
front of the windshield. It's actually pretty distracting, but pretty...
It is. It's the most random thing.
And up here, they're scattered all over the place. So
Yeah.
Anyway, it's one of those situations that you just have to laugh a little bit. But the good news is we're finally hitting above 60 degrees today.
Yeah.
Which is nice. There's still some snow, but
there's still some snow. It's crazy.
Well, it's more in the mountains and like where the lakes are, where they're frozen still, and there's in the forests and stuff like that. So, but it's finally spring-like. Anyway, talk about a higher selves. One of the things that when you go into the journey into your higher self, it's not that simple. It's like going into a journey into an individual. What part do you want to talk to? And I was shown, this was a very interesting thing they showed me. They showed me a version of my higher self, which is the version of every part of who I ever was. And then on one, so you could say the yin yang, you have a circle. So at the very top was a combination of everything I ever was. And then they had a higher self kind of like all the way along here. And also, this is all the light side of yourself. And this side is all the dark side of yourself. And the first half on either side is pure love, dark and light. Anything underneath that was the harder, more difficult learning, you could say. And they showed me all the lifetimes I've ever lived on the other side of each of these higher selves. It was extraordinary. So when you want to go visit your higher self, do you want to go to the lovey, know-it-all, or do you want to go into the darker parts? The good thing about when you're going to your darker parts, that part of your higher selves is able to teach you a lot. It's sometimes better to talk to versions of your higher self. It could be the opposite of what you're going into, or the version that best suits it. And when you go into an aspect of who you are, you're going to automatically have that part of your higher self step forward, because your higher self is always going to try to teach you the best way possible. And they're going to give you the best tools that are available to you at that time. So it's not simply just go to your higher self. Well, your higher self is ridiculously old and complicated and interesting. An individual is the same way. Like yourself, like Abby, Joseph. You go into Abby, you go into me. Well, what part of the light or dark side are you going into? You go into the dark side, you're going to get all the crap. You go into the light side, you're going to get into the beautiful aspects of who we are. It's also, when you go to heal a part of who I am, or who Abby is, or another individual, you go, how is that person dealing with the trauma in their lives? Some people are very good at dealing with trauma, but they're not good to deal with the spiritual side of it. And that's where we come in. because we're able to go into these parts that people don't normally go into. It doesn't mean just because you have stuff that's messed up inside yourself, your part of your soul, it doesn't mean that you don't have control over that, though. And that's where people, the work that we do, people get a little bit misunderstood. So if, for instance, somebody wants to go into this specific goal, well, that goal could have a lot of dark stuff attached to it, especially if they feel like they're being attacked by demonic beings and stuff like that. You go in, that's not going to be pretty. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or you're a dark person. It just means you've got parts of yourself that you're having to struggle with, and that is dark inside your soul. It doesn't mean that you're dark, though, because your soul has light and dark aspects to it. You can jump in here.
I'm just kind of enjoying seeing where you're going with this, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I love about us doing these videos together, because in my mind I'm thinking from a totally different angle on this conversation, and Joe is bringing forth this yin yang of all these versions of your higher self, the light sides, the dark sides, and it got my wheels turning that, I think people would like to hear more about, because the dark side isn't necessarily evil, okay? It's going to be challenging. So when you're going through a challenging time, you're going through this breakdown event, and it's going to feel dark and like you're in the shadow and you can't see with clarity what you should do, and you want to work with maybe an illuminating side of your higher self to get some feedback on how you're going to go through this. But why would you want to work with a dark side of your higher self that might actually be able to tune into what it feels like to go through that and help you in an expanded, wise way about, some of the things that the dark side is all about? I think it'd be interesting for you to talk about the dark side of the higher self and why you would want to work with that part, and what creates the beautiful side of the dark side. We know it creates the beautiful side of the light side, but maybe we don't.
I mean, like when I say this half, this part of, say, here, and this part right here is all loving. But it's also darkness, and you also have that light side, which is all loving. The stuff underneath is not so great, but you can still have light that isn't good, and you can have darkness that isn't good. But you also have light that's beautiful, and also darkness that's beautiful. A good example of beautiful darkness. One thing, when you're in total darkness and silence, is extremely peaceful. It is some of the most peaceful experiences you're ever going to have, because it's the absence of all light, but it's also absolutely peaceful. It's like an absence of everything. Yeah. It gives your soul the ability to just not have any influences. Because when you have light, light has a substance in itself. Darkness can be absence of everything and still exist. It's like being in a mother's womb. It's like, is a baby not at peace? Very much so. It is very much at peace. It's like when you go into a dark room and meditate, close your eyes and meditate. You don't meditate in the most brightest light in the world. You can meditate into a bright area, but sometimes the most beautiful meditation is done in darkness, because what is the one thing that's different about when you're in a darkness? You can see things that you don't normally see. Like Northern Lights are a perfect example. You can't see Northern Lights in the daytime. You might see pictures of Northern Light that look like they're in the daytime, but they're taken at night on a full moon, which then picks up the blue sky. That's a wholly different story. But the reality is that when you're in the darkness, you truly see the most beautiful colors imaginable. You see light better in the darkness than you do in the light. Look at a bonfire. Kind of muted, isn't it, in the daytime? But at nighttime, it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. So when you're in the darkness, you're able to see a lot more. And you also have less influences. Now, people can say, oh, well, the darkness, blah, 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 blah. There's all things hiding in the dark. Only if you want to attach yourself to that aspect. Because you don't have to. It's the stuff that's twisted on both ends that's the problem. And when you go into them dark aspects of who you are, actually though, almost all your strength comes from those experiences that were difficult.
Yeah.
If you never experienced any difficulty in your life, you're going to be a very shallow person. It's not that you're a bad person. You're not going to be very good if you're put in a difficult situation. You're not going to know what to do. But the dark parts of who you are all the things that you struggled with, all the things that were difficult, all the things that were impossibly sad, frustrating, angry. But that energy, if filtered through yourself properly, makes you extremely strong. Without that, if you just deleted that aspect of who you are, you'll be hollow.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be able to deal with complicated situations. That's what, you come across a person that, why is that person never angry? Why is that person can handle the most difficult situations? It's because they lived it. Maybe not in this lifetime, but usually a lot of the times, the more you go through in this lifetime, the less things bother you. Because you realize that there's always something more difficult that can happen. Mm-hmm. And you're able to overcome that and rise above it. The people that don't ever have difficulties in their life or thrown into a difficult situation need people that went through those hard times to help them, teach them how to learn. So going into your dark sides of who you are and bringing them back into balance is bringing all that knowledge into yourself. What is difficult, though, is if you don't bring it into balance, because now that negatively affects you through fear, anger, frustration. What you want to do is take all that fear, anger, and frustration and anxiety, change it so it's beautiful, back into yourself, so now it's all just learning. It's not crippling anymore. You can talk.
I freaking love that. I mean, just keep going, Joe. That was so nice. Yeah. So, yeah, I really liked everything you had to say. I mean, I'm just kind of mesmerized to hear your side of how you talk about the higher self. My experience with the higher self, well, it's like Joe, but I'm tuning in. So for me, and when I communicate with others, like communicating with clients about how to work with your higher self, first things first, what you'd be surprised is that a lot of us, we want to work with our higher self, but we don't realize that we've closed the door on that connection. Even if we say in our conscious mind, I'm open to your guidance, higher self, I'm ready to work with you. If I go into your energy field, something in there is hurt and keeping your higher self slightly at a distance, because somewhere deep down inside, when you open the door completely to your higher self, there's work to do, and that makes you feel vulnerable. And you want the work to be easy, you want the work to be nurturing. So to work with your higher self is supposed to be abundantly full of simplicity and love, and everything's easy going. But you didn't come here just to have a vacation from, you came here to have a vacation from heaven, so to speak, from the adventures of the cosmic universe, so you could forget everything and be totally challenged and clueless and frustrated. Yes, you did. You came here for that. But you aren't completely blinded. You're going to survive this life, even if you don't feel like you're surviving it at all. And you're going to take it one step at a time, and your higher self is always there with you. So the first thing that comes to me to say is that it's not just a thought. I want to work with my higher self, and I'm open to working with my higher self. It's a way of being. Whatever makes me most vulnerable, higher self, to really feel the love that you have for me and the support that you have for me, I'm opening my heart, and I want to clear out whatever those insecurities are, whatever those fears are that I can't comprehend at this time. I'm just trust-falling into you, and I'm going to let you help me. When is it that we need our higher self's guidance the most? Oftentimes when we're going through the most difficult experiences possible. When everything's hunky-dory, we probably forgot about our higher self because we're just focusing on how wonderful everything is, right? So when we're going through really difficult times, we just like, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. What are the answers? Tell me the answers. Even Joe and I, as like regular spiritual folks, like we go in the energy world, we talk to our higher selves. They don't just tell us what to do. Like my higher self doesn't say, okay, Abby, this is what you got to do. Just do this stuff. Everything's going to be fine. No, it's just like, how are you today? I'm struggling. That's nice. Okay, so what am I supposed to do about this? What do I do about this? Silence. And it's just like this knowing that you're not alone. It's this knowing that you're not alone at all, and you have to go through these experiences, and these experiences are what make you beautiful. The stories that we have to tell about the lives that we lived that was so, cringy and undigestible and grindy and horrifying, and we thought we weren't going to make it, and we made it. Those are the stories that make us very interesting people and make us proud of ourselves. And if you could see what that looks like on the energy side, that spectrum of your life, the spectrum of one human life, you'd just be in awe of yourself. You sparkle. Even when you're going through a conflicting trauma, you're sparkling because you're breaking down the energy of whatever this is all about, so that you can mold and shape yourself into this wiser person on the other side that is respectable, that is incredible, that is admirable. And that's when you shine the light of your higher self through you, when you're guiding and helping others going through the same thing you just went through, and it took you all these years, but you managed to get through it, and now you become, in a way, an emulation of your own higher self through your human self to help others. You know what I mean?
So everything that you do in your lifetime basically tells you what you should be doing in your lifetime. So it's like all the experiences that you have up to now is exactly what you need in order to be the person who you are. So it's like, instead of running from that, you should embrace it. And there is no wrong or right path. It's simply the path that you went on is the right one, because there is no wrong path. Like, we could go on to another conversation on that, but yeah. You're always on the right path. You can't be on the wrong path, because every path that exists, you're part of, you are doing it in some version of your reality. So there is no wrong path. You just choose the path that you want to go on, and then the other parts of yourself will do the other parts. Yes. So, and then when you die, all that stuff comes back to you. And that's part of what makes your higher self so extraordinary. Because every incarnation on this earth creates another higher self that's done every possible scenario in your lifetime. So could you imagine if you lived 1,000 lifetimes, 10,000 lifetimes? How extraordinary would your higher self be? And they're not going to tell you shit about anything in your life that's going to change or influence it. So life is meant to be lived. You're not meant to follow a book and say, okay, I'm going to read the book. Okay, now I'm going to just look, okay, I got to turn left here. I got to talk to this individual for 5 minutes and go to... It doesn't work that way. We're here to learn. So when you go talk to your higher self and you work with your higher self, there's like Abby goes, there's going to be parts of yourself go, hell no, I'm not going to do like blah, 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 blah. I'm not even going anywhere near that. Like, I remember looking at the parts of myself that were in many wars. Yeah. That higher self was beat up pretty bad. But the eminence of the strength coming from him, extraordinary. But he's in balance, though. Because these are all balanced parts of who you are, not the chaos. They're the ones that keep all the chaos in balance. And they're not, it's like, and they're not you. Remember that. Your higher selves are other aspects of who you were or are. But it is not you. It is you, but it's not you. Like, you can say you lived 1,000,000 lifetimes. There's 1,000,000 parts that are in one. But there's still you. Yeah. So, your higher self is the makeup of everything that ever was, that belongs to you, that is you, but is also not you. And it's confusing because it is confusing.
I think
though.
the best way to explore that
Yeah.
is, okay, imagine that you attained in an incarnate state. Like I, Abby, suddenly became the emulation of my higher self. It would be so incomprehensible. I swear, I might actually blow up. I mean, because your higher self is a representation of unfathomable harmony, wisdom, expansion, every version of time. You're the whole reason of coming here as a human being would be eradicated, because you would have come here to be an all-knowing God. Like, you know what I mean? It's not why we came here. Maybe we're evolving into becoming the future of our human self is an aspect of our higher self, which is an all-knowing expression. But then what's the point of, this being human? The point of being human is, being human, shame and guilt and embarrassment and fear to speak, courage to speak, degraded by people, degrading now yourself, regret, all this. And then the courage to just say, I forgive me. You know what? I'm going to say what I need to say no matter what anybody else says. You know what? I'm going to be me even if nobody likes me and my family disowns me. You know what? I did the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Or, lie and say, I didn't do anything wrong. It's all you. It's like, we come here to be whatever, right? And in those many reflections of the mirror of ourself and how we worked through this lifetime, when we shed the layer of this body and we go onto the other side in the spirit world and remember everything, and then we witness how we behaved in this life and how we impacted literally everybody, it's like the whole humongous domino effect. It's like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Oh, I'm going to go back and reconcile everything. And so you're going to keep coming because you want to. You want to grow. You want to feel this stuff. You want to work through this stuff. You love this. You love your family and your soul and everybody, like even the people that you can't stand, you love them. In the spirit realm, it'd blow your mind how much love there is for each other. And then we come here and we don't like each other sometimes, and we have to find a way to be okay being in the presence of one another in a way that doesn't feel good. And forgiveness or whatever, we don't know what all the lessons are going to be, but that's why we have the almighty eyeball, this super self that is kind of guiding us through the learning that we can't consciously comprehend, but we're allowed to make our mistakes and behave how we behave, and then to feel sorry for ourselves, not forgive ourselves or forgive ourselves or whatever in time. And all of that, being a positive, all of that is still the extraordinariness. You know what I mean?
One of the ways that you could say, too, is that Earth is yourself.
Yeah.
The galaxy is all your... the galaxy would be all the lifetimes you've lived. And the universe is your higher self. And the multiverse is everybody else's higher self. Or parallel lifetimes is the multiverse. Like, you could go on and on, but it gives you an idea how insignificant, but how beautiful each individual person is, because the earth is beautiful, but compared to the universe it's pretty insignificant. But it's not insignificant at the same time, and it's felt when it's not there. So I don't know, I've just kind of got lost in my thoughts here. And like for myself, the higher self, it's when I go to my higher self, I can have a direct conversation with him, but it's all about teaching you how to bring out the parts of who you are, to remind you how strong you are, remind you how beautiful you are, remind you how extraordinary you are. They're not going to tell you what to do, but they're going to remind you how strong you are. Because you are strong. All of us are. We're here. You might not want to be here sometimes, but we did come here. We're going to come back here, or we're not going to come back here. It's up to each individual person. But I don't know, you could go on and talk about your higher self forever, because it's really difficult to put it in exact words what it is that you experience when you're with your higher self, or truly understand. Like, I always laugh at the scientists when they say they know everything about the universe. It's like, I chuckle inside, because, I mean, how egotistical do you have to be when we haven't even left our own solar system with anything? We're kind of just almost out, but not quite. We know everything about the universe. How big of a narcissist is that? I laugh at it because I know scientists,
they don't want to change
they don't want to change anything.
Their rules. It's like, okay, we're witnessing some information that's just totally going to debunk everything we thought we knew, but we're not going to admit it yet, because this is going to change everything we've been saying for all these years. And now these like masters in the field are going to be outwitted by some new masters that are going to learn based on new information.
We all need to be open to change. We all need to be open to new ideas, to grow.
Yeah.
If I was a person like in the scientific field, for instance, and I was talking about the universe, I'd say I have no idea what I'm talking about. But right now, this is all I know.
Right.
And this looks right, and it seems right, but realistically, it's going to change tomorrow or a week from now, and everything I just said is not going to be working properly anymore, because we don't know. We don't know our higher selves completely. We never will in this physical world, because there's no way we could possibly know, because it's so ridiculously complicated.
And even if I were to be doing a session, this is as best as I know right now.
Yes.
Because when I do that session, like let's say the session is today, you want to book a follow-up session, it's 30 days out, we're going to be experiencing some totally new wind of perspective and information, because you can grow during that time. You might have shifted your own energy, and now you're working through a new path or new perspective. We could be guided to something that's beneath the surface, because we just cleared that stuff out at the top, and now we're getting to the next level of what this is all about. So everything is always shifting. It's like people who want to just clear all the energy blocks from their chakras, and then we're good to go for the rest of our lives. It's like, okay, we're going to remove those blocks, but what's beneath the surface of those blocks? More blocks. I'm telling you, it's just self-discovery, this transformation.
It's a lifetime thing.
Yeah, it's a lifetime thing. And you can't say that the mentality that you had as a teenager is the same mentality that you have today. You know what I mean? Because our minds are growing and expanded based upon our life experiences, and that's why you're older, you're wiser, you know? And same with energy work. You clear those layers out and you witness new things, and you start to learn and grow as you get to know yourself and your vibration, and you're okay with not being the almighty perfect, heavenly emanation, because we have dark and light sides. We have our totality, you know?
There's a lot to say. But if you look at your higher self, is the closest reflection of of all the makeups of everything you ever were. So if you had a hard life, and you had a million hard lives, and they're all influencing you right now, do you honestly think after all those lifetimes that you can just go, everything's better? It's a constant learning all the time. It never stops.
Yeah.
Because we're not meant to simply just learn and then we're okay. This is the problem, this impatience in the human race that creates the idea that I can simply just get rid of all my hopes and fears instantaneously.
Yeah.
That doesn't work that way. You have to face them. You have to battle through them. You got to look at them. You have to really challenge yourself, because it's not simply just a flick of the switch and then everything's okay. Life doesn't work that way. And the people that tell you that they can simply just take everything away with a flick of a switch, they're lying, because it doesn't work that way. It never has. Yeah. All throughout history, it takes work to become a better person. It takes time, effort, learning to learn something. That's what we do. So if we have parts of ourselves that are broken, it could take lifetimes to heal that. And like you say, you peel one layer of the onion, there's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one. That's normal.
Yep, that's normal.
So as you learn and grow as a spiritual person, as a human being, you will understand more and more and more aspects of who you are. And you'll start to realize that we really don't know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not meant to. We're meant to struggle blindly. It's like we're put this glasses that are put on deep within ourselves that we'll never know that stuff.
Yeah.
Because we have to use our brain connected to our spirit with a bunch of sunglasses that we'll never see into that spot because we're not meant to.
Yeah.
Because at this point in time in learning, we're only ever going to know what we are knowing now, and then a little bit more, a little bit more, a lot, a little bit more, and then nothing at all for a long period of time, then more is how it works. It kind of changes and grows all the time.
Yes.
So the work that we do, we help guide you through those difficult times. We go into spaces that you start off here and you slowly work your way down to the root of it. And then that root is transformed. Everything above it gets transformed. But that's one aspect of a trillion.
Yes.
But that aspect does allow you to breathe. It does allow you to let that part go.
Yep.
It move on from it. However, it also teaches us the things that we need to change in our lives. If we don't change those things, we're not going to learn from it. And then that's just going to grow back.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't go to the roots and transform the roots and let the roots die, I should say, you're going to regrow it again.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard work to go inside yourself to heal.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be easy.
I will say there are some times where it just feels like you could do a session and the way that the impact of that session is monumental. Even if we're looking at 1/1,000,000th of an aspect, because you're like the super harp. You have so many threads of sound that are rippling through you that you have no conscious clue about. Unconscious behaviors, you don't even realize you're doing it. Subconscious universe going on there. All this chakra stuff. Aura. You have all these timelines, infinite timelines. Soul is doing soul learning in other places, parallel lives, alien lives. You got all this stuff going on, and all you can do is the best you can do amidst this human environment, right? But sometimes, like Joe and I, if we do a soul retrieval, it's really amazing if you were to go in. We were to go in to gather an aspect. Let's say you had a really traumatizing past life, for instance, and your soul hasn't reconciled the trauma of that life, and part of you gets stuck in the most traumatizing part of that lifetime. And this could have been 10,000 years ago, and you're still stuck in there. Something of today's lifetime, and you're tripping over maybe a repetitive cycle, something that you're noticing a pattern, and you can't seem to get out of this pattern, and it's leaving you in a very low place. And let's say one of us, Joe or I, were to do a soul retrieval, and then we find this aspect of you, and we reconcile that relationship with yourself from another lifetime that you wouldn't have consciously had a clue about, but that lifetime was calling out, which is causing this pattern that you're unconsciously attracted to. You see how all this weird stuff is interconnected?
Yeah.
Now we release that one little particle, which is a big freaking deal. That comes back to you. You get burst full of light, and something big is reconciled. Now it's almost like I don't need that pattern anymore. And once you're able to let that pattern go, you'll start to discover there's other patterns. They didn't even notice.
It also teaches your energy field to stay bright even at difficult times. So doing work on yourself does allow your energy fields, you could say, to become in a balance and not be influenced by little things anymore. But the sounds of your soul, the sounds of stuff that's inside yourself, when it becomes really loud, it's time to let it go. And we're here to help you let that go. Yeah. And that's what we do. And that can be extraordinary or subtle. But in the energy world, though, it's huge. Because when you transform parts of yourself that were lost to you for very long periods of time, it's a big deal for everyone. Because as we heal you, we heal everyone. Yeah. And one of the patterns that prevents us as a human race from really, really, truly growing is us not dealing with the hard parts, the dark parts of ourselves. We're always taught to leave that alone. Of course we are. Because if we weren't, and everybody worked really hard on the dark parts of yourself, we'd become an extraordinary race.
Yes.
But the people that want to keep us entrapped, you could say the demons of the world that want to keep us entrapped in this planet, are going to tell us not to do that, because by not doing that is keeping us enslaved.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that are happening right now.
Yeah.
There's a very, 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 very loud push to keep us enslaved.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time we need to say no to the absurdity and say yes to transform this absurdity into something beautiful.
Right.
Which is equality.
Right.
Everybody's equal. Why is that so hard?
That's true. In the energy world, like, some people get afraid of, let's say, a demon out there. It's like, that demon is not above or beneath you. Well, I want to talk to the Ascended Master. That Ascended Master is not above or beneath you. Like, we are all a part of this amazing thing, because you can't have, like, a rainbow without the color yellow, for instance. Like, we need every single piece of the puzzle to see the bigger picture. And that means all souls of all varieties, of all wisdoms, of all developments, and we come together and create something extraordinary. And that's the same for the human race, is we have to work together and to bring out the best in each other in order to bring out the best in our world, you know? So if we're falling into the influence of, I don't know, the inner demons of other people, or the inner demons inside ourselves that are causing us to be our weakest aspects, or how we're dealing with their inner demons, we're not pushing them to grow out of that. We're just staying away from it. See, all this stuff works together to decide how we're all going to evolve through this time. And everybody has a higher self. Every single person on this planet has a higher self. And we're all guided, and it's all divine. And that's one of the big things, that no matter what's going on in your life, it's like a trust fall, and it's a safety net that what you're going through is perfect. It may not feel perfect, but if you could know that completely and just say, you know what, this is what I need to be experiencing. I don't like this. I want to say that this isn't what I need to be experiencing. But if it's true that this is exactly what I need right now, why am I screaming about it? Why am I running away from it? Why am I afraid of it? Why do I want to make it stop? Why can't I be a solution to this experience? Grow out of it by becoming more powerful than it, right? And then you just release it, and then come into a balance and a harmony, not by being under the foot of an inner demon, but by bringing balance to your light and dark sides. You know what I mean? Then rising up and being more the essence of your higher self through yourself.
And then you'll have a time of peace, or a very brief time of peace, or a long time of peace, and then you'll go on to the next lesson.
Yes.
It never stops.
Yes.
Because we're not here simply to be at peace all the time. Mm-hmm. But there is times where you will actually do the things that you meant to do in your life, and then have a life, the rest of your life will be perfectly peaceful. But it's different for each individual.
Yeah. And
nobody's the same. So don't put yourself in the category of someone else. Put yourself in the category of who you are.
Yeah.
Be happy and strong in yourself. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because you are the master of who you are and what you do and what influences you. What influences you is up to you.
Yeah.
It's not up to anybody else. Like you go to somebody's just shaman, and the shaman put this evil spirit in me. No, he can't do that. Only if you allow him to.
Yeah.
If your fear is so strong that you believe that it's now part of who you are, and now it's part of who you are. But if you don't believe they can do that, no, you can't do that, but it won't. It's just that simple. But sometimes it's not that simple, because our beliefs are our worst enemy.
Yeah. And
we come across beliefs all the time, because your belief system influences you to the point where you're like, oh my God, this is horrible, like I'm being attacked by this demon. But you realize you go inside the person and they're attacking themselves.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to let go of the pain. But why the hell would we ever keep pain?
Yeah, I know.
Because it's familiar. Because it's what we know.
Yes.
A woman that's in an abusive relationship is a perfect example. Why can't they leave? You think it's that easy. Why? It's simple. Well, look what's happening in the world right now. How many people are still trapped? Lots.
Yes.
And that's the parts that we have to overcome. That's when we come and help our neighbors, help ourselves, help our friends, help our families, to try to be in balance. But you can't allow them to drag you down into the depths of hell, into darkness, into despair, into depression, because that's not helping you at all. So if you're in a relationship that you're being pulled down into despair, you might need to walk away from that relationship in order to get yourself back into the light. And then maybe you can help the person now. But you can't help anybody if you're in despair all the time. When you come out of it, though, now you're able to help because you got out of it. And you're that learning that you went through to get out of it is so extraordinary. It's beautiful. It's better than any psychologist because you got out of it. Psychologists might have had a perfectly good life, might have went to school for a long time. I'm not bashing psychologists. But the best people that teach people are the ones that have been through it and got out of it on top. And that is what's being pushed aside as not important. But to me, life skills are more important than anything. You go to college and university for 100 years, but if you have no life experience, what's it going to do you any good if you're shivering in a corner? You know, it's not. Life experience is the best teacher of all.
That's how we learned. I mean, we have so much life experience with doing journeys and communicating with the spirit realm and talking to people that we have so much experience that we didn't go to college to learn how to do what we do.
Well, there's no college.
I know, there's nowhere. We had to find it inside of ourselves, and we found each other and we build each other up. One thing I'm curious about, Joe, because I want to ask you this. I loved the example of you're in a woman abusive relationship struggling to get out. A common thing I would hear is, I need my higher self to give me the strength to leave. I would hear that. Okay, so Joe, what would you recommend if you had a client say, how do I get my higher self to give me the strength? I need my higher self to give me the strength to leave. What's the difference between the human being finding the strength versus the human being working with the higher self to gain the strength? Because they don't know how to gain the strength without some sort of support, some connection. I don't know. What do you think about that?
The thing is, the higher self already gave you the strength. The problem is that you're not accepting it. And because there's all kinds of aspects to that it aren't flowing into yourself. Your higher self isn't going to say no to give you strength because you already have it. And so at any time, I want higher strength, not even saying your higher self already knows that you need the help. But that higher self isn't going to walk down and pick you up and, and put you up over here to make sure you're at a bed on time. It doesn't work that way. What the higher self might do, though, is give you the understanding to get out of bed in the morning. But you have to get out of bed. You might have I need to get up. But if you go, no, I'm just going to lie in bed for another hour, then you just denied the help. It's going to be subtle, but it's going to be your intuition is going to tell you something. That is your higher self telling you what to do. It's you knowing that you have to do something, you need to do it. And one of the things that if you're overweight and you want a higher self to help you lose weight, the simple fact is that you need to try to lose weight. And then as you try to lose weight, you'll meet people, you'll see things that will get you to really go into the path of losing weight and keep it off. But if you say to yourself that, you know what, I shouldn't eat that cake, but I'm going to eat it anyway. Well, you shouldn't have ate the cake, but you did. So the consequences
I blame my higher self.
But you can't blame your higher self because you blame yourself because you're the one that made the decision to eat the cake. You can blame your higher self, which everybody does, but ultimately it's you that make the decisions. You're in control of your own life. So the strength is always there. You have to learn to accept it and you have to learn to work. So if you want to become, let's say you want to learn how to do journeys. First of all, you got to try. Secondly, you got to try. Thirdly, you got to try. and you continue to try. Because at some point in time, you're going to be guided into certain individuals that are going to help you get there. But you might not be the same as me, or you might not be the same as Abby, because your understanding and what your lessons were in other lifetimes are different. So it's complicated because you're not going to be able to do a journey like I do, because I'm me. You might be similar. You might be similar to Abby, but you're going to do it the way you're supposed to do it. So sometimes when you go on the journey to find out how to do a journey, you're going to end up doing it the way you're supposed to do it, and you got to be in acceptance of that. Because also, you're not going to be able to do it 100% right off the bat. It's going to take many, many, many times. So what we find is we ask our higher self for something, but we never want to take the effort out to try to do it or to become it. So if you want to find what am I meant to do in my lifetime, you're meant to do, say, what would be a good example? I meant to help people spiritually. Well, what does that mean? Well, you're meant to do it through art. Okay, have you ever done art? No, I have no idea what they're talking about. Take an art class.
Yeah.
Pick up a pencil, pen, paint, put an intention, start just doing it. Eventually, through many trial and error, you're going to be something. It doesn't mean you're going to be an artist. It could mean that you ended up becoming a Reiki master.
Yeah.
Through that process of what the higher self, what we're being told, brings us in the direction that we're meant to be.
Yeah.
Just because they say you're meant to be an artist doesn't mean you're going to be an artist. It means by trying to become an artist, you become what you're meant to be.
Yeah. The breadcrumbs effect.
Yes.
Like your higher self, you might get a sense that this is where you need to be, but nothing is happening. Just trust, okay? I think one thing I want to say about, the type of concept the girl in the abusive relationship needs the strength of the higher self to get out of it, or hey, I want to lose weight, higher self help me lose weight, or higher self, I can't stand this job but I can't find another job, higher self, get me out of this job. Higher self kind of works in mysterious ways, sometimes is like the silent helper. So you're going to have to build some of those skills. Like you're going to have to say, I know how to get out of this relationship. I know how to get out of this relationship. I know how to lose weight. I know how to leave this job, and so when you start to say, I know what to do, you're starting to align with a strength of yourself, the higher self aspect of who you are, instead of the insecure. I don't know what to do. I don't have the strength. I can't lose weight. Higher self, just make me stop eating this crappy food. I give up. Just do it for me, higher self. No, because you got to get strong on those 2 feet. Then you know what to do. And that is now you working with the higher self through you by making the mature, the responsible, the self-loving, the bold, the courageous decisions that are going to change your life for the better, right? Because you're going to have to kick the bad habit to the curb. You're going to have to kick the abuse to the curb. You're going to have to kick it to the curb because you know what to do, okay? So yeah, life purpose, that's a common question, and so yeah, I mean, I thought my life purpose was I was determined to be like the vice president of a company. Like I was determined to work my way through a company and rise up to the top, but I did not know I was supposed to be a YouTuber, psychic energy healer, to be the person that I am right here. I had no idea that was my path. And so the breadcrumb was college, and from college, professional work environment. And then I had kids, still in professional work environment, went through a lot of my own challenges there with everything, only to discover that I am such a spiritual person and none of this emulates me and I'm not happy in any of this. And I did actually explore Reiki, and I explored a lot of things, and I was always talking to the spirit realm, and so I didn't really know that I was becoming this purpose, that I was determined for something that was going to make me feel fulfilled in my life, and it happened to be this. So my higher self was like the silent guide that was helping me to attain this level, but it didn't happen overnight. It happened over freaking years of time to become this person, you know what I mean? So,
and even having the question is from your higher self.
Yes.
Even questioning it's coming from that.
Yeah.
I guess there's so many aspects to this that ultimately, you could say your higher self is God speaking through you.
Yes, you could.
Depending on if you're a religious person, you'd say Jesus is in God, or
Yes.
that's your higher selves.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are an eminent, like God speaks through us because we're all
Yeah.
connected. We're all one. God is a conscious of everything that we ever do and that everything that ever lived, you could say.
Yeah.
So that's another, that's a
way of
mind
seeing it.
explosion
Mm-hmm.
at the least. But I don't know. It's so important to just be who you are.
Yeah.
But if you want your life to change, you need to speak it, what it is that you want, and you need to just do it.
Yes.
But also know when to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because you want to be this, you don't just quit your job and stop everything and do it. No, that was, if you're listening, sometimes your heart's like, no, not yet. You need to keep your job for a while. That does happen.
Yeah, sometimes.
Not all the time. But when you start to make a decision that is absolutely ridiculous, they will sometimes jump in. Not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're meant to get, if you want to be a doctor, you have to learn to be a doctor first.
Mm-hmm.
So that could take 5, 6, 7 years. Then you're a doctor. Then you now go to find a job to be a doctor. Now you can leave your other job, or if whatever it is that you're doing before. You have to pay attention to what it is you want to do, the timing aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard to do because we fall off the bandwagon because we don't want to wait. We want something right now and not wait till later on. And that is another aspect. So when you really talk about this stuff, you realize that life is meant to be difficult, meant to be hard. You're meant to make your decisions, not somebody else making decisions for you.
Yeah.
And I keep saying that because you are the one that's the master of who you are and what you're meant to do in this lifetime. We are here to help you. And I think we need help sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We need somebody to talk to. We need somebody to simply care.
Yeah.
Because there's a world we're living in right now, there's a lot less people that care about other people. And that's a shame. Because that should be more important to everyone.
Yeah. And that's love. It's love without having to label it as anything.
Yeah.
But it's spiritual, and it says higher self. It's love. It's caring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think there's a lot of content here that you guys can work with, and maybe you just need to hear all this stuff. Like, there's a reason why I kept thinking, you know what, Joe and I, if we make it a video and maybe we could just ask some questions and just kind of vent or talk and share on this topic of higher self, I can tell that people need to hear some perspective on this. And so this is what we experience, and, I know there's going to be content in here that's going to help anybody.
And if people tell you all the answers, then they're usually not true. It's too good to be true, they say. It usually is.
Yeah.
We're meant to learn. We're not meant to be given the answers.
Yeah.
And we, as spiritual people, are here to help you. We're not here to give you all the answers.
Right.
The ones that do, be careful of them. Not saying they're wrong, but when somebody says that they're the only ones that can help you, you turn around and walk away, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
One person doesn't have all the answers. They think they do. They might believe they do.
Joe and I are learning new things every day.
And you never stop.
And we like talking about the weird anomalies.
Because as a person that goes down this journey of life, I never stop learning. The more journeys you do, the more you learn.
Yep.
If you do 1,000 journeys, you're better than the first one.
Yeah.
If you do 10,000, you're better than the 1,000th one.
Yeah.
And it continues on and on and on and on. And you're going to have ups and downs all the way along the way. And the people that are truly your friends are going to help you through the really difficult parts, not disappear.
Yeah.
If you're rich and people are all around you and then you go poor, you really truly find out who your true friends are.
Yeah, that's right.
If somebody's always asking you for something and never helping or facilitating that back,
yeah,
it's not equal, that's not a friend.
Right.
That's somebody that's there just to take from you.
Right.
And they don't just take from you physically, they take from you energetically as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're like parasites.
Yes.
Because they're missing something inside themselves. And you're there to give them stuff. But they're not just taking stuff, they're taking your energy as well.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to separate from those individuals, because unless you're one that takes and you want to be around somebody that takes and you both are perfectly happy taking from each other, perfectly fine. But I like to give, but I also like other people to also give.
Yeah.
That's not really to me. But if I give to somebody and I see they're giving to other people as well, that's what's beautiful.
Yes, it is. Yeah, domino effect of love.
Yeah. That's all I think.
Yeah, I think we said everything. So if you guys have any thoughts, share in the comments. If you have any questions, don't be shy.
Yeah, if you're ever in the Yukon, look us up. I have
yukonskies.com.
yukonskies.com.
You should
I'm
check
doing
out his
Northern Lights and
his
kind of touring as well on the side. So yeah, that's one of the things I do.
Yep.
Try to keep busy.
Also, AmonRossTheAwakening.com. I'm Abbey Normal's WisdomQuest.com.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yep.
Take care.
Have a beautiful day.